My Aunt Carol looked me right in the eye and said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "It's such a shame you're still single at 29. I just worry about you." 15 relatives went silent. Forks stopped midair. My cousin smirked into her wine. I felt my face go hot. But I didn't say a word. Because at that exact moment, the front door opened. Daniel walked in carrying 2 pumpkin pies, smiling that quiet smile I'd fallen for 8 months ago. "Sorry I'm late." Traffic was insane. Carol's face drained of color. All of it. Gone. She knew exactly who Daniel was. Her landlord, the man who owned the brownstone she'd been bragging about all year. The man she'd just realized was with me. I watched her try to form words. Nothing came out. And I couldn't help but wonder, how did someone so obsessed with appearances not see this coming? Before I tell you what happened next, do me a favor. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. And if you've ever been underestimated by family, hit that like button. You'll see why in a minute. Because this story doesn't start at Thanksgiving. It starts a year earlier, when Carol had no idea who she was really renting from. Carol has always treated me like the family project. When I chose art school, she called it cute. When I switched to business and project management, she said, "Oh, so you gave up." At every holiday, every birthday, every wedding, she found a way to remind me I wasn't enough. Her son was the golden child. Doctor, married at 25, 2 kids, perfect. I was the one still figuring it out. Except I wasn't. I'd worked full-time through college. Graduated debt-free. Got promoted twice in 3 years. I was a senior project manager at a firm people actually respected. But Carol never asked about my work. She just asked when I'd settle down. I'm careful. I've always been careful. I keep records, emails, texts, contracts, everything. It saved me before. At work, in a bad roommate situation, with an ex who tried to rewrite history. So when I met Daniel at a networking event last January, I did what I always do. I paid attention. He was quiet, kind, didn't need to perform. He ran a small real estate portfolio, 3 properties in the city, all residential. Nothing flashy. Just steady, smart investments. We started dating in March, kept it private. I wasn't ready for the family circus. Turns out, Carol had moved into one of Daniel's brownstones a year before I even met him. She loved that place. Loved posting pictures. Loved telling everyone about her charming landlord, who clearly recognized quality tenants. She had no idea that charming landlord would end up at Thanksgiving holding pie and holding my hand. I thought keeping us private was the smart move. Turns out it was about to become very, very public. 3 days after Thanksgiving, my phone rang. Carol. I almost didn't answer. "Hi, sweetie." "I've been thinking." Her voice was honey. Too sweet. I knew that tone. "Now that we're practically family, I assume you'll talk to Daniel about adjusting my rent." I blinked. "Adjusting it?" "Well, yes. A family discount. 50% seems fair, and honestly, it should be retroactive. I've been overpaying for a year." I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. "Carol, I don't own the property. I have 0 say in Daniel's business." "Don't be ridiculous. You're his girlfriend. Of course you have influence. That's not how this works." Her voice changed. The sweetness evaporated. "Blood helps blood. That's how family works. Or did your parents not teach you that?" I felt my jaw tighten. "I'm not asking Daniel to cut your rent in half. That's not reasonable. That's not even legal in some cases." "Legal? You're going to talk to me about legal? I'm your aunt. And you signed a lease, at a rate you agreed to." Silence, then ice. "Fine, I'll handle this myself. But people need to know how you treat family. You have 1 week to fix this, or I'm taking it to everyone. Let's see how Daniel's reputation holds up when people find out he's overcharging his own girlfriend's family." She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. 1 week. She'd just declared war over rent she'd willingly agreed to pay. Rent that was already below market rate. I opened my laptop. Found the folder. Started organizing. Because if Carol wanted receipts, I had plenty. Carol didn't wait a week. 2 days later, I woke up to 37 unread texts. She'd sent an email. To everyone. The whole extended family. Cousins, aunts, uncles, even my mom. The subject line, when family becomes greed. I forced myself to read it. She painted herself as the victim, said I was using my influence to overcharge her, that Daniel was complicit in financial abuse, that she was being punished for being vulnerable. It was a masterpiece of manipulation. My cousin Sarah texted, "Is this true?" My uncle wrote, "Very disappointed in you." My mom called. Her voice was tight. "Why wouldn't you just help her? She's struggling." "She's family. Mom, I don't own the building. And her rent is actually below—" "I don't want to hear excuses. This is embarrassing." She hung up. I sat on my bathroom floor and tried not to cry. Nobody asked for my side. Nobody asked to see the lease. They just believed her. Then it got worse. Daniel's property manager forwarded me a formal complaint Carol had filed with the city's tenant advocacy office. Allegations, retaliatory practices, unsafe living conditions, hostile tenant environment, all lies. But now they were on record. Public record. I opened the folder again. The lease. The payment history. The emails. I had proof. But would anyone even care? For 48 hours, I felt like I'd already lost. Then I remembered something my first boss told me. Facts don't need to be loud. They just need to be right. So I got quiet. And I got ready. I pulled the lease agreement Carol signed 14 months ago. Standard residential lease, 2-year term. Monthly rent, $2,400. Market rate for comparable units in that neighborhood? Between $2,700 and $2,850. Daniel had actually given her a small discount when she moved in. Not because of family, he didn't know me yet. Because the timing worked and she seemed responsible. Her signature was right there at the bottom, dated, notarized. Every term was clear. No verbal promises. No special clauses. Just a fair lease at a good price. I wrote one email. 2 sentences. Here is Carol's signed lease. All terms were agreed upon in advance, and the rent is below current market rate for the area. I attached the PDF. I sent it to the same group thread she'd used. Then I waited. 6 hours of silence. Then my cousin Sarah texted privately. I had no idea her rent was that low. I'm paying $3,000 for a place half that size. My uncle didn't apologize. But he did send a thumbs up emoji. For him, that was something. My mom didn't respond at all. But Carol did. One line, in the group thread. This doesn't change the fact that I'm being retaliated against. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just deflection. I closed my laptop. I didn't expect her to back down. People like Carol never do. But I also knew she wasn't done. And neither was I. Because I had more than one receipt. I always do. Carol didn't just double down. She went nuclear. December 1st came and went. No rent payment. Not $1. In 14 months, she'd been late plenty of times. But she'd never flat out refused to pay. December 5th, she posted on Facebook. Vague, wounded, perfectly calculated. It's hard when the people who are supposed to love you become the ones who hurt you the most. Praying for strength against narcissistic family members and slum landlords who exploit vulnerable women. It got 63 likes, 12 shares. Friends from church started commenting. Praying for you. You deserve better. Stay strong. I didn't respond, but I screenshotted everything. Then the city inspector showed up. Carol's complaint had triggered a formal safety inspection. Daniel got 24 hours notice. They found nothing. The property was up to code. Smoke detectors worked. No mold. No leaks. Nothing. But the complaint was still public record. And now Daniel's business name was attached to an allegation of unsafe housing. His property manager, Lisa, called me. I want to move forward with formal eviction notices. This is damaging our reputation. I hesitated. She's still family. She's also withholding rent and filing false complaints. You don't owe her protection. Daniel was calmer. He always is. I'll support whatever you decide. But we can't let lies stand. Not publicly. He was right. I gave Carol one more chance. I texted her directly. Pay December rent by the 10th, or we move forward with legal action. She replied in 11 seconds. Talk to my lawyer. She didn't have a lawyer. But that didn't matter. She'd made her choice. Now I had to make mine. I pulled the full payment ledger. 14 months of history. Carol had been late 11 times. 11 out of 14. Sometimes by 3 days. Sometimes by 2 weeks. 3 months she paid only partial amounts. $1,700 instead of $2,400. $1,900 instead of $2,400. She always caught up eventually, but always late. Always with an excuse. Every single time, Daniel's office sent a formal late notice. Certified mail, documented. Then I pulled the maintenance requests. 8 total. 2 were legitimate. A leaky faucet, a broken lock, the rest? A chandelier bulb she called urgent electrical failure. An accent wall she wanted repainted because the color felt aggressive. Then I found the neighbor complaints. 2 emails, both from the tenant in the unit next door. March, noise complaint. Loud music past midnight on a weekday. September, something bigger. Carol had been subletting her guest room on Airbnb. For 3 months. Without permission. Direct lease violation. In writing. With screenshots of the active listing. I stared at the screen. This wasn't a family dispute. This was a pattern. Entitlement. Manipulation. Rule breaking. And now I had proof of all of it. I saved everything to a single folder. Organized by date. Clear labels. I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt calm. Because now I wasn't defending myself. I was just presenting facts. And facts don't lose. My cousin Maya texted me late that night. She'd stayed out of the group thread. Stayed neutral. I respected that. But now she was breaking her silence. I need to tell you something. Carol's been asking me for money since June. Small amounts at first. Then bigger. She's broke. I read it twice. What do you mean broke? Divorce cleaned her out 2 years ago. She took the brownstone to keep up appearances. But she's been living paycheck to paycheck. Credit cards maxed. She asked me for $2,000 last month. I sat back. Suddenly it all made sense. The car, the clothes, the vacations she posted about. All of it was financing. All of it was a facade. She couldn't afford that apartment. Not at $2,400. Probably not at $1,200. But she couldn't admit it. Not to the family, not to herself. So when she found out I was dating her landlord, she saw an exit. A way to cut her rent in half and call it family loyalty. When that didn't work, she panicked. The emails, the Facebook posts, the city complaint, the withheld rent. It wasn't about fairness. It wasn't even about me. It was about survival and ego and the inability to admit she was drowning. I felt something I didn't expect. Sympathy. For about 10 seconds. Then I remembered the lies, the public attacks, the damage to Daniel's reputation. You can be struggling and still be wrong, and I wasn't going to let her destroy us to save her image. I texted Maya back. Thank you for telling me. Then I called Daniel's attorney. The attorney's name was Rachel. She'd handled Daniel's leases for 6 years. She listened, didn't interrupt, took notes. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. You have everything you need. This is textbook. Notice to pay or quit, then file for unlawful detainer if she doesn't comply. How long does that take? In this county? 3 to 5 weeks from filing to hearing? Maybe another 2 for enforcement if she contests. And if we win? When you win, she corrected. She'll have 30 days to vacate. After that, sheriff-assisted removal if necessary. I nodded. But before we file, I want to give her one more option. Rachel raised an eyebrow. You don't have to. I know, but I want to. I wrote one email. Short, clear, no emotion. Carol, you owe December rent in full. If you pay by end of business Friday and agree in writing to vacate by February 1st, we will waive all late fees and lease break penalties. This is a one-time offer. 72 hours to respond. I sent it certified. Read receipt requested. She opened it in 9 minutes. No reply. Friday came and went. Silence. Monday morning, Rachel filed the unlawful detainer. Case number 24, CV 9381. Hearing set for January 9th. I looked at the filing confirmation on my phone. No anger, no satisfaction. Just a strange, quiet certainty. I'd given her every chance to do this with dignity. She chose spectacle. So spectacle it would be. January 9th, 9:30 a.m., Municipal Courtroom, 3rd floor. Fluorescent lights, metal chairs. A judge in reading glasses who looked like she'd seen it all. Carol arrived 15 minutes early. She brought a 3-ring binder. I saw her hands shaking as she set it on the table. Daniel and I sat with Rachel. One accordion folder. Calm. The bailiff called the case. 24 CV 9381. Petitioner Daniel Cross versus respondent Carol Mitchell. The judge looked at Carol. Ms. Mitchell, you're representing yourself? Yes, Your Honor. I can't afford an attorney because of the financial abuse I've been experiencing. I felt Daniel tense beside me. Rachel's face didn't move. The judge nodded. Present your case. Carol opened the binder. Printed Facebook posts. A handwritten statement. Photos of the apartment with circles drawn around minor scuffs. She talked for 8 minutes. Retaliation, emotional harm, family betrayal, unsafe conditions. The judge stopped her. Do you have the city inspection report? Carol hesitated. They didn't find anything, but that's because... So, no violations. No, but noted. Anything else? Carol sat down. Her binder stayed closed. The judge turned to Rachel. Counselor? Rachel stood. Opened the folder. Your Honor, we'll keep this brief. She laid out 5 documents in a row. Exhibit A, signed lease. Market rate analysis attached. Respondent's rent is 12% below comparable units. The clerk marked it. Exhibit B, payment ledger. 14 months. 11 late payments. 3 partial payments. Another mark. Exhibit C, certified late notices. All documented. Exhibit D, neighbor complaints. Noise violation, March 14th. Unauthorized subletting via Airbnb, September through November. Direct lease violation. Carol's face went pale. Exhibit E, settlement offer sent December 12th. Open same day. No response. Rachel stepped back. Respondent owes $2,400 for December. She has violated the lease multiple times. She was offered a generous exit. She refused. We ask for judgment and possession. The judge looked at Carol. Ms. Mitchell, did you pay December rent? Silence. Ms. Mitchell? No, Your Honor. Why not? I was waiting for them to adjust it. Did your lease include a provision for adjustment? No, but did you request a modification in writing? No. The judge closed the file. Judgment for petitioner. Respondent to vacate within 30 days. Petitioner awarded unpaid rent plus court costs. One strike of the gavel. Carol stood. Grabbed her binder. Walked out without looking at us. I watched her go. No triumph, no relief. Just the quiet, strange weight of something ending. Outside, Daniel took my hand. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, I think I am. Carol moved out 3 days before the deadline. No apology, no final conversation. Just a forwarding address left with the property manager and keys in an envelope. She rented a studio across town. Smaller, cheaper, quieter. My cousin Maya told me Carol was working 2 jobs now. A retail shift and weekend catering gigs. She said Carol seemed different. Humbled, maybe. Or just tired. I didn't reach out. Neither did she. Some bridges don't get rebuilt. And that's okay. The family reaction was split. My mom's generation thought I was harsh, cold, unforgiving. You could have just helped her, my mom said. That's what family does. We didn't talk for 2 months. When she finally called, her voice was softer. I don't agree with how you handled it, but I'm trying to understand why you did. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. My younger cousins were different. Sarah texted, Honestly, it's about time someone held her accountable. Maya sent a card. Just 2 lines. Thank you for showing me it's okay to say no. Even to family. I put it on my fridge. Daniel's business was fine. Better than fine, actually. Word got around that he'd handled a difficult tenant situation cleanly and legally. 2 new landlords asked for referrals to Rachel. If anything, his reputation got stronger. And us? We moved in together that spring. No more hiding. No more keeping quiet. We hosted a small dinner in May, just close friends. Daniel's brother, Maya. No drama. No performance. Just people we actually wanted around. I set a new rule for myself. No business entanglements with family. Ever. No loans. No cosigns. No favors that blur the line between help and harm. I wrote it down. Shared it with the people who mattered. Some thought it was extreme. I thought it was survival. The following Thanksgiving was smaller, quieter. Just my parents, Daniel, and 2 cousins who'd actually supported us. We ate. We laughed. Nobody asked invasive questions. It was the best Thanksgiving I'd ever had. I think about Carol sometimes. I don't hate her. I don't even blame her, really. She was drowning and grabbed the nearest thing. It just happened to be me. But I wasn't a life raft. I was a person with boundaries. And when she tried to tear me down to save herself, I had a choice. I could have let her. A lot of people do. They call it keeping the peace. But peace bought with your dignity isn't peace. It's surrender. So I showed her the receipts. I stood my ground. I let the facts speak. And I'd do it again. Because family doesn't mean free passes. It means holding each other to the truth. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to set a boundary with family that everyone else thought was too harsh? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if you believe that boundaries aren't cruelty, they're love, hit that subscribe button. I've got more stories coming every week. Thank you for watching. And remember, this is a fictionalized dramatization. Nothing here is legal or financial advice. Always consult a licensed professional for your specific situation. I'll see you in the next one.